Hey, and we are recording. Awesome. Go ahead and put your names on your assignment. If you still got Chromebooks out, get those put away. I'm going to get my chair around this, are solving radical equations today. So it is currently second hour, or whenever you are watching this video. For our radical equations, we are going to have square roots. Square roots are asking yourself the question, what number times itself equals this number? So the booklet that you guys just did was to practice. Did it go up to 15 by 15? Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. So it was practice square roots up to 15. So what's the square root of 100?
10.
What's the square root of 81? 9. Okay, what's 9 squared? 81. Awesome. So we have this new set of opposite operations. Square roots are the opposites of squaring. So just like adding and subtracting cancel each other out, squares and square roots cancel each other out. Hey, we have 3 steps to solving today. And the steps are still just use opposite operations to get x by itself. But the new part, having to get rid of that square root, we want you guys to know exactly when that is supposed to happen. So we are going to start by isolating the radical. So get everything outside of the square root gone. So get rid of everything outside the square root on that side of the equation. That's always your first step. Then your second step is to get rid of that square root by squaring both sides of your equation. Once you get that done, you can isolate the variable. All right. Any questions about steps before we see how to actually solve? Okay. Sorry, video, you had to wait for that. Hey, our very first example here, we've got the square root of 5x over 2. What is underneath the square root on that side? But like that 5x and that divided by 2. That's all under the square root. So think of it as a house. 5x over 2 is underneath the house, correct? Yeah? You guys see that? Okay, so there is nothing outside of that square root that we need to get rid of now. So we are going to start by getting rid of the square root. So we are ready. We do not need to do anything for step 1. We are ready for step 2, which is to get rid of that square root by squaring both sides. So I'm going to put a little squared here. I'm going to put a little squared here. On the left side of our equation, the square root and the square cancel each other out. So the square root and the square cancel each other out. All we have is 5x over 2. So it stays the exact same as what it was. This marker is dying, I'm throwing it away. On the right side of our equation, we need to do 5 squared. 5 squared is 25. Awesome. I'm going to rewrite that in a marker we can read. Okay, any questions right now? Hey, in that case, we are going to solve this like a regular equation. Anytime we are dividing and multiplying, you can either multiply by that reciprocal, so we can multiply by 2/5 here. That might confuse you. I like to just multiply, stop, and then divide. So I'm going to start by multiplying both sides by 2. So I'm going to multiply by 2 on the left. This 2 over 2 cancels out. So we just 5x. And that 25 times 2 is 50. Then, our last step, we need to divide both sides by 5. So we're going to divide both sides by 5. 5 over 5 cancels out. So you just have x equals 50 divided by 5 is 10. Hey, any questions about solving that equation? Hey, something I want to point out. If we were to plug this in, what is 5 times 10? 50. What's 50 divided by 2? 25. What's the square root of 25? 5. Okay, so we can always plug those in and check our answers still. Hey, we are going to go from here now. We are going to solve this second equation. So same thing, we're going to get rid of this 5 and this 2 first. So with that 5 and that 2, we're going to get rid of the 2 first. The reason why we're doing this at the beginning is because it is outside the square root. So see how that 5 and 2 are outside the square root and the 4x is what's inside? So we're going to start by multiplying both sides by 2. So multiply by 2. Multiply by 2. 2 over 2 cancels out. So we got 5 times the square root of 4x equals 15 times 2 is 30. Yes, thank you. Okay. From there, we want to get rid of that 5. So that 5 is currently being multiplied by our square root. So we're going to get rid of our 5. So divide both sides by 5. Divide both sides by 5. 5 over 5 cancels out. We've got square root of 4x equals 30 divided by 5 is 6. Okay, from there, we are going to square both sides to get rid of that square root. So there's now nothing outside of the square root, so we're going to square both sides to get rid of our square root. So we'll square on the left, we will square on the right. On the left side, the square root and the square cancel each other out, so all we have left is 4x. And on the right side, 6 squared, what is 6 squared? 36, you got it. Okay. And now, this is a one-step equation. We just got to get rid of that 4. So we're going to divide both sides by 4. So we've got x equals 36 divided by 4 is 9. Hey, so in this one, we had to get rid of the 2 and the 5 first, and then we squared both sides of our equation, and then we solved for x. Okay, very last one. Look at the square root. What is underneath the square root here? Well, there's still an x, but there's nothing other than the x, right? Okay, so we need to get rid of everything outside the square root. Then we can get rid of the square root, and then we'll be done. So if I had an equation that was just 8x minus 5, ignore the square root, would I get rid of the 8 or the minus 5 first? Minus 5. So we're going to add 5 to both sides. We've got 8 times the square root of x equals 27 plus 5 is 32. What operation is happening between that 8 and that square root? Multiplication, so we will divide both sides by 8. Have the square root of x equals 32 divided by 8 is 4. Is that true? Yeah. Sorry, that just felt weird. It felt smaller than it should. Okay, and then the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to get rid of that square root. We get rid of square roots by squaring both sides. So we'll square the left side of our equation, we'll square the right side of our equation. Square root and square cancel. So I've got x equals, what is 4 squared? 16. Awesome. Okay, so your steps are get rid of everything outside the square root, then get rid of the square root, and then get rid of everything to get x by itself. So you solve for the square root, get rid of it, and then solve for x. So you guys kind of pause in the middle of your solving, and at some point you'll square both sides of your equation. All right, I am going to go ahead and stop this video. Was I even actually recording? Yes, I was.